fortuitous water shot is the fountains out there in right center field. We look at the tarp instead, and we'll be slightly delayed at the beginning, but not too seriously. As far as we're told right now, the Rangers and the Royals will play ball very soon. Along with Tom Grieve, I'm Josh Lewin, and yeah, we had some rain come through here. They're getting the tarp off right now. We should be good to go in about 20 minutes or so, and a chance for Colby Lewis to make sure that he's still pitching in that Ranger rotation.
Well, I know that's what Colby wants to do. His last start against the White Sox was a little bit of a shaky start. He walked 4 batters in that start. Prior to that, in 5 starts, he only walked 6 batters total. So he's been throwing the ball pretty well. If you go back 2 starts against the Chicago White Sox, he had 10 strikeouts. The key to Colby is his slider, which he's developed over the last 3 or 4 ball games. And if he can throw that for strikes along with his fastball, then I think everything will be fine.
And as you can see, he's faced some unbelievable competition over the last few starts. And though Darrell may not be going to the Hall of Fame or anything like that, he's been pitching very well himself over the last couple months. So that's the charge for Colby Lewis. Shut down a hot swinging Kansas City team. Make sure the Rangers beat up on Mr. May tonight. Getting close to playing ball. Rangers and Royals coming up on Fox Sports Net. That against Darrell May tonight. And again, Tom, we talked about 20 minutes ago regarding Darrell May. No, he's not a household name. This guy was in Japan pitching for 4 years before last season. But you look at that ERA, 3.75, and Darrell May has had a great year.
Yeah, you look at what he's done since the 1st of July as well. He's 6-2 with a 3.38 ERA. He's become their ace. I don't know that people around baseball would look at Darrell May and think of an ace, but if you follow the Kansas City Royals, I think you probably would. He's pitched very well. Opponents have hit less than 250 against him, given up less hits than innings pitched. He's got excellent control. He walks right around 2 batters per 9 innings. He was the pitcher of the month for Kansas City in the month of May. He was 0-0 that month. He had all no decisions, but he pitched very well. He's left about 5 or 6 games this year with leads that the bullpen has coughed up. Otherwise, he'd be a lot better than 7-6.
He's got the Cosmo Kramer hair working right now, too. I'm not sure if that's a function of the sudden rainstorm or not. But he is almost ready to take the field. And we should mention, Tom, that during this rain delay of 20 minutes, the Chicago White Sox were busy putting 7 runs on the scoreboard in the top of the 4th. They now lead the Yankees by the score of 7-2, and the Royals admit to doing some scoreboard watching. You can't blame them. They are 1 game in back of the White Sox, who, let's face it, are surging right now. They took 3 out of 4 from a hot Texas Ranger team. They maraud their way into the Bronx. They beat up on the Yankees 13-2 yesterday. They go up 7-2 tonight.
Yes, sandwiched around those games was the game that John Thompson pitched against them, the shutout. And I think the more you look at what the White Sox had done before that shutout and what they've done in New York after that shutout, it just makes it even more remarkable what John was able to accomplish against such a hot ball club.
Kansas City takes the field about 25 minutes late because of the rain. Let's check out the Texas Rangers starting lineup for Mr. Showalter tonight, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's going to be Mike Young leading off. And actually, Donnie Sadler is playing third base tonight. Blaylock gets the night off against a lefty. It's going to be Rodriguez and Palmeiro, Spencer and Teixeira. And it's actually Green, Thames, and Navarre the rest of the way. I'll recap that for you as we go, but Buck Showalter again giving Blaylock a chance to rest against a lefty. Donnie Sadler getting more and more playing time, and he returns to Kansas City, does Donnie Sadler. He spent a summer as a utility man for this Kansas City team. He's got that same role for Buck here in 2003.
It'll be Darrell May. We've talked about him already. He's held left-hand hitters to a .227 average, so he's been very tough on them. He has had 1 start against the Rangers. That was back July 13th in Texas. He won that ball game 8-2. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 run, 1 walk, and tied a season high with 6 strikeouts in that game. He's won his last 2 starts. Both of them have been against Minnesota, and in both games he pitched 6 1/3 innings. So he's on a pretty good roll right now. He's throwing the ball well, and he's got to be pumped up pitching in a pennant race against a good offensive ball club like the Rangers.
Beltran made a terrific diving catch in the first inning yesterday, set a nice tone. Rondell White makes his Kansas City debut. He'll play left field. Aaron Giles in right field. Guile had a 4 RBI night last night. So here we go, 26 minutes late. We begin with strike one from Darrell May. And Mike Young just 6 of 33 on this Ranger road trip. Trying to ignite something from the top of the order. Hard to believe, Tom, it's just 80 degrees at game time. It was 101 during the day, but then the rain came through. We're down to 80.
It feels a little more humid, but the temperature is definitely cooler. No doubt about that. Well, that off day that we had here on Monday, walking around the plaza area, it was like being in a furnace.
Mike Young tattoos one into left center field. It's going to fall for a base hit. Wide turnaround first, and there you go. The Rangers did not have a base runner until 11 batters had come up yesterday. Now the first man has reached tonight. That's Mike Young. Got to give some credit to Brian Anderson, huh? He just came out throwing strikes. He said after the game he was as nervous as he had ever been before a big league game.
Well, he disguised it pretty well because he threw strikes, worked in all his pitches. Other than the 2-run homer by Rafi, he was in pretty much command of that ball game for 6 innings. So if he was that nervous, and I have no reason to believe that he wasn't, if he says it, he sure didn't look it out on the mound. He looked very composed.
Being lowered head first into a pennant race, having come over from Cleveland. Sadler jabs and bunts it to Darrell May, his only play to first, and he barely gets Donnie Sadler, who, as always, makes the defense work because of his speed. And a chance for Alex Rodriguez to cherry pick an RBI here.
Donnie needed to get that ball down the third baseline a little bit more to get a base hit. He gets a sacrifice bunt easily, but it's a little bit too easy for May to field, and even though it was easy for him to field, it still was a very close play at first base. And you know, Josh, talking about Brian Anderson, the pressure that he feels is not the pressure individually for him to pitch well. It's the pressure you feel for your new teammates who are in a pennant race. You don't want to come in, pitch a bad game, and feel like you let down 24 new friends and new teammates. And I think that's the pressure that he talked about, and the reason he was so nervous. He just wanted to do well for his teammates. I think as an individual, you know you're going to have good games and bad games. Boy, he just wanted to have a good one last night. The newspapers built him up to make it sound like it was the second coming of Pedro Martinez joining Kansas City, like he was the ultimate savior to the team, and that's a little bit unfair.
Alex Rodriguez jumping out against that changeup again. Alex just 1 of 11 lifetime against Darrell May, but that's offset tonight by what you're looking at. That month of August is the best in terms of pure power in Major League Baseball. Nobody else in the majors with even 9 home runs in this month of August. Alex has 12. Just missed inside, and the fans kind of giving Jim Wolf the business. Looked a little snug.
Well, it's snug if you're the batter. It's just right if you're the pitcher. And the umpire's kind of caught in the middle. If he calls that pitch a strike, Alex is mad. If he calls it a ball, May is mad. Couldn't win that one.
Down the line, Joe Randa will freeze the runner and retire Alex Rodriguez. 2 down.
Miranda's having a solid year defensively. You mentioned yesterday that he leads the major leagues percentage-wise at third base. Guy we like to call the Joker around the league. He is actually smiling now, but there are times when he's not smiling and he has that same smirk on his face. Like right there.
He can't help it. That's just
that's what he does.
That's how he looks.
That's a great nickname, though. I don't know who gave it to him, but
I know it
sure fits.
When he was with the Pirates. That's when it was hung on him. Rafael Palmeiro drilled a home run last night. Takes a strike right here. And historic home run. And as we talked about a half an hour ago, Tom, most of these home runs now are historic in some way. He continues to move up and up on various charts. This one, number 521 career, tying him with Ted Williams and Willie McCovey. Another one that just missed. And you're talking about being tied for 13th all time. Fill in a 521 there for Rafi, and Sammy Sosa, obviously an active player.
Yeah, that's a moving target.
Pretty safe to say he'll be alone in 13th by the time the year is done. But it will take quite a final 5 weeks to catch and pass Sammy, because Sammy's really caught fire too. By the way, the Cubs and the Cardinals are scoreless in the 5th inning tonight. There are not many games dotting the schedule that don't mean anything. When you look around, maybe Cleveland at Detroit tonight. Actually, Detroit at Cleveland tonight.
You appear to be a lot more comfortable tonight with your computer in front of you.
I've got it working again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a big assist to Scott from the Kansas City Royals Information Systems Department.
How long did it take him?
I don't know. It seemed like he just waved a magic wand or something, and all of a sudden all my data was back. I don't pretend to understand how. Rafi grounds it off the glove of May, and it deflects towards second. Rafi is out. Ball pinballing in the infield. The Rangers got the leadoff base runner, but that's it. No score. Bottom of the first coming up. On the Rangers, who are 10 games under 500 coming in tonight, and the Royals hitting a ton of late. Go with Aaron Guile and Joe Randa as the top 2 men in the order. Then it's Mike Sweeney and Carlos Beltran, Raul Ibanez, and the former Padre, Cub, and Expo and Yankee Rondell White, Desi Relaford, Angel Baroa, and Brent Maine. They're all taking their swings against the righty Colby Lewis. 6 wins, 8 losses. ERA of 7.59 for Colby.
Darrell May's last 2 starts were against Minnesota. Colby's last 2 starts have been against the White Sox. One at Texas was a win, 7 2/3 with 10 strikeouts. One of his strongest games of the year, maybe his strongest game of the year for sure. At Chicago, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 5 runs. That game was a loss. I think the key for Colby is obviously throwing strikes,
which he has not done yet. And yet, you know, we explore the reasons for a 7.59 ERA. Too many walks. And instead of giving up the occasional solo home run, you find yourself giving up some 2- and 3-run home runs. In this league, I would think, Tom, I mean, the home runs are going to happen. You're going to find some bats, and the balls are going to get out of a lot of these American League bandboxes. The key is keep them solo.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And one way to do that is not to walk anybody. You know, Colby walked 4 batters in his last start, but prior to that, in 5 starts, he only walked 6. So control had really not been an issue for him. And the Royals have some good hitters on their ball club, especially in the middle of the lineup with Sweeney, Beltran, Ibanez, and now Rondell White. It's a pretty good lineup they've got. You know, you look at the Royals and you think it's a fluke that they're where they are, but I think it's a fluke if you look back to maybe last offseason at what their team was looking like. But now that you look at them and where they are and the team that they've got a solid team. Baroa has really come through at shortstop. You didn't know much about him. Relaford has filled in and done a good job. Weren't sure how he'd do if he played every day. Guile has been a surprise at the top of the lineup. And you know what the guys in the middle of the lineup can do. They've added some veteran guys into their bullpen, which I think has made a difference. Al Levine, Leskonic. Felt threw great last night from the left side.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
They're looking okay.
Yeah, it's kind of an intriguing mix of the young and the old. And a reasonably young manager in Tony Pena. He was an active player not too long ago.
Because watching before the Royals took the field for batting practice today. Tony Pena was playing catch with George Brett. George was warming up to throw some batting practice. Each one of them looked like they could play. They're in great shape. Pena had that same catcher's snappy throw that he always had, firing the ball at George, and George looked like he's in playing shape himself.
You got 19 All-Star appearances playing catch when you're talking about George Brett and Tony Pena.
Just looks funny when you look out on the field and see George Brett throwing batting practice.
There's a walk to Randa. This is absolutely the start that you didn't want to see from young Colby Lewis tonight, as he walks the first two and has to deal with Sweeney and Beltran. How nice for these Kansas City Royals to be able to dip into this well, to have George Brett just come on out and hang with the young guys.
If he doesn't look like he could still play, he's in great shape.
Bank of America higher standards. A man with 3,154 career base hits. Although he'll always remember that 3,000th hit. He got picked off immediately after it happened. That's a little embarrassing. I mean, he's wiping the tears out of his eyes, doffing his cap, and then he gets picked off. There's a strike to Sweeney.
If I had to pick one player over the last, say, 30 years during my playing career, during my front office career, and as a broadcaster, I'd have to say that George Brett would be my favorite player. Just because he was obviously a great player, but he never showed up the other team. He never flicked his bat.
There's Sweeney carving it into right field, and it dies on that wet outfield grass. It'll easily get a run in. Mike Sweeney hitting in the spot where George Brett used to quite often, the 3 spot. And it's quickly 1-0 Kansas City.
You know, little hits like that don't do any damage if there's nobody on base, but when you walk a couple of guys, then that little jam shot, little weak grounder to right field, scores a run. That's a good pitch. I mean, that run ran right in on his fists. It's obviously not hit very hard. The result is a run in a first and third situation for Beltran with nobody out. But just finishing up on George Brett, never did anything to show up the other team, never gave less than his best effort on the field. He was friendly to the fans. He was respectful of the teams he played against. Everything about the guy was first class. He was just a great player.
Hit his first ever home run, by the way, in Arlington. Hit it off of Ferguson Jenkins. Never really known as a big-time, 35 a year home run guy, but boy, he could get you a big RBI, huh?
He got big hits. Boy, you look at that playoff series against Toronto before they went to the World Series. And he had some big home runs in that series when it looked like Toronto was going to win.
Boy, speaking of smelling an RBI opportunity, Carlos Beltran. He's been crushing the Rangers the last couple of years. What do you think? If a guy's hitting 500 over his last 13 games against a team, does that qualify?
I'd say that's hot. There's definitely no doubt about that. 10 for 16 is pretty hot too this year.
And 26 for his last 52. Though Colby makes a good pitch. Everybody's running. Would you believe it drops in? When you're hot, you're hot. And it's tough to get a good start, I would think, Tom. It's kind of a muddy, murky mess out there in the field. You can see some divots coming up when the guys are running. It's just not easy to approach the ball right now, and 2 baseballs have fallen in.
Yeah, it's a little bit soft out there, and I think that on a drier field you get a little bit better traction. I think the bottom line on this, it was just a well-placed blooper. Just hits and stops, got spin on it. So the 2 walks have both scored. Sweeney and Beltran with 2 of the cheapest hits you'll ever see, but they're set up by the 2 walks. By themselves, they don't add up to much, but you work the walks in there, definite damage has been done.
Here's another guy making a run at a 300 batting average, Raul Ibanez. When was it, 1980 that George Brett made the run at 400, right?
Yep.
He was hitting only 337 at the All-Star break that year. How about
incredible?
How about that?
Yeah, usually you would think of a run at 400 as being someone that starts off hot and tries to keep his average at 400, not someone that starts out 70 points lower and tries to raise it to 400 when you've already gotten 200 or 300 at bats.
In the heat of a Kansas City summer, and back then baking on that artificial surface.
Yeah.
Ball squirts away from Todd Green, and this nightmare of the bottom of the first continues. Runners moving to second and third. We'll wait and see the scoring that's called in. Wild pitch versus pass ball.
The ball had good movement on it. It looked like Todd got a glove on it. I don't think it was in the dirt. I think that's just one that got by Todd. Kobe's not an easy guy to catch. He throws hard.
They are scoring at a pass ball. Infield back for now. This
that
one
can't fall in.
If it does, hopefully it's foul. Right near the stripe, Donnie Sadler makes the catch. It was officially a foul out by Ibanez. And a nice ovation now. It's the debut in Kansas City of Rondell White. And they welcome him with open arms.
They hope his debut is as good as Brian Anderson's was last night. The Kansas City fans appreciate the job that Allard Bear, the general manager, has done, trying to add veteran guys to this lineup. And the fact that management has been willing to spring for some extra dollars in salary.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. I think that's as much an ovation for the front office right there.
They're saying thank you.
Their first choice, as you may know, in acquiring a power-hitting right-hand slugger was Juan Gonzalez. But that never did happen. And the Juan update for today, he is tomorrow going to get a third opinion after the second opinion on the strained calf. Dr. James Andrews will be checking out Juan tomorrow. I know several people have a fourth opinion on the Juan Gonzalez situation, but we'll settle for a third opinion right now.
I don't think there's many Ranger fans that don't have an opinion on that situation, but that's what baseball is all about. If you're a fan, you have opinions, and you're not afraid to express them either.
What does our buddy Mike Reiner say? It's a talking sport. There's been a lot of talking about that. Big rip by Rondell White. Rondell White has had some real strong years, including this year, Tom. He was an all-star for the Padres this season. 18 home runs, 66 runs batted in.
One place he struggled a little bit seemed to be Yankee Stadium. Yankees just signed so many guys. Forget that Rondell White was even a Yankee.
He will cash in and bring the fans to their feet. 2 runs are coming home. It is 4-0.
I'll tell you what, if you add these 3 hits up, they shouldn't even add up to a hit. Sweeney hit a little dribbler through the right side. Beltran, a little pop up to left. And that, I guess you have to call it a line drive for Rondell White. Was hit right off the fist and just blooped into the outfield and center field. So the inning definitely was set up by the 2 walks. And then the 3 soft hits have made it 4-0 along with a pass ball. Just a nightmare of an inning so far. I think if I was a pitcher, I'd rather give up 3 ropes and a home run than that.
Well, here's a 25th pitch of the inning. It's down and in to Desi Relaford. And Tom, as we suggested during the pregame show, the Rangers going to be looking at Mickey Callaway maybe before too long. Who knows who else might be coming up? Ryan Snare perhaps once the rosters expand. And here's an opportunity for Colby Lewis tonight to prove that he should not be knocked aside here to make room for somebody else. Relaford hits it in the air to left center. Navarre tracking it, and he will make the catch. And Tom, while we have the chance, let's check that Texas Ranger defense in its entirety tonight.
Well, we know that Ramon Navarre's in center field. He just made the play. Shane Spencer is in left. Marcus Thames is in right. Got the usual double play combination with A-Rod and Michael Young. Donnie Sadler's playing third, Tex at first, and Todd Green's behind the plate.
Way up there, and who wants it? Ramon Navarre says it's coming my way.
Boy, it's over.
4 runs though for Kansas City. 3 hits, 2 walks. Back in a moment. Tonight's Dodge Grab Life by the Horns feature will feature Michael Young. In there behind Don Wakamatsu, the Ranger bench coach. Move, Walk. There he is. We begin things in the second. The Royals already have a 4-0 lead. How'd you like to be the Minnesota Twins? Taking BP right now out in Anaheim. You're looking up at the scoreboard and you say, okay, let's see. The White Sox had a 7-run inning. The Royals already have a 4-run inning. And we got to keep up with those Joneses tonight. Shane Spencer trying to get some of these runs back for the Rangers. He'll line one foul. Let's get you back to that Ranger lineup too. We've got it 1 through 9 for you, brought to you by Southwest. After Spencer, it's going to be Teixeira and Green. Marcus Thames makes another start in right, and Ramon Navarre back in the lineup. Out a couple games, nursing a sore left shoulder. One tends to get a sore left shoulder when you're trying to plow down a center field wall. That's almost what happened to poor Ramon in Chicago.
And it wasn't just one time either. He ran into that wall flush, and then another time he dove into the wall and rolled into it.
Spencer hits a high drive left field. Rondell White. 1 down, second inning. And folks, coming up after the game, you will see the Southwest Sports Report. 30 minutes of nightly sports news dedicated to teams throughout the Southwest. For extended regional highlights, in-depth interviews, catch the show that was voted best sportscast in Texas, the Southwest Sports Report. A lot of football for you, and a little tied me over for Mike Madonna.
Gosh, you were talking about Montreal only being 2 games out of the wild card. I was just looking at their scoreboard. Montreal's beating Philadelphia and Pittsburgh's beating Florida.
Holy cow.
That holds Montreal's within 1 in the wild card.
You could have 5 teams within
amazing.
1 in the wild card. That's up and outside to Teixeira. We told the story yesterday about the Marlins stopping over in Vegas on their trip from the West Coast to the East Coast.
That's a trip I think you make after the season, after you've won something.
Well, so far it's not looking real good. They lost to the Pirates yesterday. They trail 4-0 tonight.
I don't know that you want to be celebrating at the end of August. Not that that's what they were doing, but
no, just unwinding, I guess. But yeah, that National League wild card picture is so fuzzy right now. I mean, day by day you get a new vibe about who's the favorite. Swept along near third. Randa pockets it, throwing off balance to get to Teixeira. Nice play.
Well, we were talking about Tony Pena being a strong candidate for manager of the year. I think you have to say Frank Robinson's a strong candidate over in the National League with what he's been able to do with Montreal when you consider they've played some of their games in Puerto Rico, some of their games in Montreal. They really don't have a home park. They have no home fans, so to speak.
Ooh, ain't got no home. Expos, with a win tonight, Tom, that they would be even in the win column with Florida and Philadelphia.
That's amazing. I didn't even realize that.
Todd Green hammers one to left field, not wasting any time. Base hit. It's been 152 plate appearances since Todd Green has walked, and that's pretty much why he jumps on that first pitch a lot.
Well, he smoked that ball. He got a good pitch to hit, and he drilled it. A couple of catchers right there, Jim Sundberg and Todd Green.
Hope you enjoyed the chat with Sonny on the pregame show tonight. Very cool to have him back in a Ranger uniform, and I'm sure here in Kansas City they are enjoying seeing his smiling face again. Only only 2 seasons as a Royal for Jim Sundberg, but when that first one gets you a World Series ring, you tend to have some happy memories both ways.
No doubt about it.
Marcus Thames will slash one to left field. Rondell White digging, will not get it. It'll be 2 on, 2 out on what continues to be a clumpy, muddy outfield here in KC.
I think Rondell made the right choice on that ball. He was thinking about diving for it, but when you just jump out with 4 runs and there's 2 outs in the inning, you don't want to take a chance on a dive, let this ball get by you for a triple and an RBI. So he holds back up, goes back on it, plays it into a single, first and second. And that probably was the right play under those circumstances. Late in the game, tie game, you might have to go for it depending on the circumstances, but at that point in time it wasn't worth the risk.
Ramon Navarre against May, takes on the outside corner. And Tom, just to finish the thought on the National League wild card race, you've got 7 teams, 7, within 2 games of each other in the loss column right now. Past the mound, tough play behind the bag. Baroa, he will fire, too late, and the bases are loaded for Michael Young.
That's a great play by Baroa, but he couldn't get the meteor going down to first base. Meteoro was flying. He smelled that hit. You know, he's been so close on a number of infield plays this year, and it seems like he's always a half a step short. But this ball he hit off the end of the bat up the middle, and Baroa gets to it, flips it quickly, and a good call at first base by Scott Nelson with a little help from Sonny there at first base.
Attaway, Sonny, earning your meal money.
You see Sonny's saying he's safe. There he is. Yep, yeah. Good call.
So Ramon Navarre and Donnie Sadler, 2 guys out of the right side of the batter's box. I mean, I don't know if you can find anybody quicker in the league, Tom, right-hand batters that get home to first like that.
Rocco Baldelli is quick. I don't know if he's quicker, but he would be someone that would be in that group. There's probably not too many on the same team in the same lineup on the same night like this.
Well, you can think of some lefties. Ichiro with that. I mean, he seems like he's halfway to first when he hits the ball.
Yeah, he's got the advantage.
Carl Crawford of Tampa Bay. But in terms of pure speed out of that other side of the batter's box, where you give away a couple tenths of a second, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think most scouts would say that you do. Some guys get out of the box quicker than others.
Young pegs one foul.
Just by the pure physics of the whole thing, I guess that's the right word. You're farther away from first base when you're batting right-handed than you are left-handed. You're about a step closer to first base to begin with as a left-hand hitter.
With your momentum kind of pointing you towards the wrong side, you take that swing and your body's up near third. Mike Young drills it to right field, but it will not get out. There's Guile to capture it, and the Rangers, despite a 2-out bases loaded threat, do not score in the top of the second. It is still 4-0 KC. The Royals a 4-run first inning, and trying to make it 2 straight victories against the Rangers. Folks, you can visit any DFW Starbucks. Get a coupon for $10 off on select lower and club level seats at the ballpark in Arlington. The offer good for any home game through the end of September. And coupons can be redeemed at the first base ticket office. Just go to TexasRangers.com for more information. Speaking of getting online, just a public service announcement from your friendly neighborhood announcer. Get that firewall stuff. Get that antivirus equipment for your laptop. Really, I'm a believer now. We'll be able to get to some of your emails tonight, thanks to the firewall installation. Brent Maine takes right at the knees. Colby Lewis, good to see him getting ahead here. Tag 1 and 2.
Well, they got 4 runs off him in the first inning, but they sure didn't hit the ball hard against him. 3 cheap hits, 2 walks and a passed ball added up to 4 runs. I don't think they hit a ball hard the whole inning.
That one back to the net. Here's the whole menu of bloops for you.
That ball hit right on the fist by Sweeney. There's a little blooper. Barely falls in. And Rondell right off the hands. Loops it into center field, and there's 4 runs. But if you're the pitcher, you feel like you're throwing the ball pretty well. They're not hitting the ball hard. But when you go back to the bench, the one thing that's in your mind is you shouldn't have walked those first 2 guys. That's kind of what set the inning up.
Well, Colby keeps challenging the veteran catcher Brent Maine. Their other catcher, Mike DeFelice, is in the process of appealing a 2-game suspension when he just went nuts in a game against the Twins. Started firing the Gatorade and everything else he could think of.
Thought he was Lou Piniella.
Yeah. Who just turned 60 years old, by the way, did Lou Piniella. Happy birthday, Lou. What kind of gifts Lou was in receipt of today?
Good question. I don't know.
Something that helps him relax. A massage, perhaps. 10th pitch of the at-bat coming up. And Colby Lewis wins out. Was not going to give in and walk the leadoff man this time.
Colby's got the kind of stuff that he can challenge hitters with. He's got an excellent fastball, good curve ball, working on an excellent slider. Some days it's better than others. But he's got the kind of stuff that he can go right at the hitters. He doesn't have to shy away because of his stuff, that's for sure. Change up.
What a year Aaron Guile has had. It's been quiet. I mean, you don't hear about this guy nationally, but batting average of close to 290. A dozen home runs now. Plays great D. A little check swing here. If you weren't an Aaron Guile believer, Mike Sweeney had a home run last night. Aaron Guile had a home run last night.
Aaron Guile hit a 3-0 pitch from R.A. Dickey. Got the green light. It's not normal that the leadoff hitter would get the green light on a 3-0 pitch, but Guile's not your typical leadoff hitter. He has a little more power than you normally expect from a leadoff guy. I think Tony Pena anticipated that R.A. would not try to nibble with the 3-0 pitch, that he would throw him a pretty good pitch to hit, and he gave him the green light to swing, and Guile hit a home run.
Now Aaron Guile walks again. That's the 3rd walk allowed by young Mr. Lewis in this game. And the problem is when you walk Aaron Guile, you are going kind of down the mine shaft at that point, because 3 straight hot hitters will greet you after that. Randa, Sweeney, and Beltran. The throw down, and Guile is going to get it. The stolen base against Lewis and Green. Three stolen bases. That's not a lot from your leadoff man, but if you're going to get on base twice in 2 innings, I guess that's all you can ask, huh?
Yeah, he had a pretty good jump. Had the base stolen.
Couple checks over the shoulder. And the Joker, Joe Randa, taking inside. We talked about the Royals mixing the younger players and the veteran players, Tom. Going young has sometimes worked for this franchise. When the Royals won the AL West in '84, they broke in Saberhagen that year, Mark Gubicza that year. '87 they competed. They had Kevin Seitzer and Bo Jackson in their rookie years. Angel Baroa, a rookie this year.
Well, how nice is it to break in Saberhagen and Gubicza, two pitchers like that, both in the same year. Set you up pretty nicely for the next 10 years.
Yeah, the Royals had a great year in '84, but they were not going to get past those Tigers. It started out, what, 35-5 that season. Outside, 3-2 to Randa. He walked on a full count pitch last time. There is already action in the Ranger bullpen behind Colby Lewis as he continues to fall behind some hitters. Joaquin Benoit, who's actually done some of his best work as a Ranger in long relief.
He's had a couple of wins back in the last homestand, 2 long relief wins, 4 or 5 innings each time.
Hit well into right center. Navarre all the way back, will not get it. Joe Randa comes through. It's going to get a run in, a double for Randa.
Ramon had a long run to go after that. He was shaded a little bit around toward left field. Randa hit it to right center, up to the warning track. Ramon gave it a good sprint, could not quite get there. You see Ramon speeding as hard as he can after that. He plays it in nice and quick.
Yeah, kind of a one motion, peeling it off the wall and firing. Another visit from Orel Hershiser. Well, the Rangers have had the misfortune, Tom, on this road trip after Detroit. I mean, you're running into 2 of the hottest swinging teams going right now. 2 teams that are competing against each other for one playoff spot. That's the White Sox and the Royals.
Yep.
White Sox have 10 on the board tonight already. The Royals have 5. Hey, folks, this Saturday, the Coach Fran era debuts at Texas A&M. The Aggies against Arkansas State at 7 p.m. This game only available on pay-per-view. You can order it for $29.95. For more info, call your local cable or satellite provider. Don't miss the dawning of a new era in Aggie football. Sweeney a rip and a miss after the visit from Orel Hershiser. Mike Sweeney has that clause in his contract that we've talked about sometimes, Tom. If the Royals are a 500 team this year or next, then he sticks around. If they finish below 500, he can exercise his right to walk. And right now, the Royals are 6 games over 500.
Yeah, I don't see that being something that Mike's going to want to do. He loves it in Kansas City. He made a commitment. He just wanted to have an out if it turned out that the Kansas City Royals stayed near the bottom and didn't do anything to improve. I think they've done enough this year to allow Mike to say that he made the right decision by signing to be the backbone of this offense.
He is well aware the Royals have not been in the playoffs since they won the World Series 18 years ago. Though Cardinal fans will tell you they should have won it because, doggone it, George Orta was out at first base in Game 6. Towards the mound, it gets past Colby Lewis and dives in the infield. An infield hit for Mike Sweeney. That was a do-or-die flail by Colby Lewis. And when it got under his glove, it was lights out.
Well, Sweeney's 2 for 2. One of them barely reached the outfield. That one barely reached the infield dirt. Kobe bends and can't make the play, and Michael hangs on to it because he knows there is no play. And that's going to be it for Kobe Lewis.
He despondently hands the ball over to Buck Showalter. That is a very short night for Colby Lewis. Just an inning and a third. The 3 walks, the 5 hits, the 5 runs, and we'll see Joaquin Benoit when we come back to Kansas City.
the forefront of that. But for baseball, Don Mattingly was always my favorite baseball player. I just love the way he played. Great player, obviously, but I love the way he went about his game, and he got the most out of his considerable ability.
That was Michael Young grabbing life by the horns, brought to you by Dodge, where we grab life by the horns every day. It's going to be Joaquin Benoit has to come into this game, and I don't know if he's going to actually grab anything, but he's going to try to keep the Kansas City Royals off the scoreboard from here. They've already got 5 on 5 hits and 3 walks. A short 55-pitch outing for Colby Lewis tonight. Joaquin Benoit will be the next to ascend the mound here in Kansas City, and this is not an easy assignment tag. He draws Carlos Beltran.
Well, he's got men on first and third and only 1 out. But as you said, Josh, Joaquin has done some of his best pitching this year out of the bullpen. He's come in and thrown well. In the last homestand, he had a couple of wins, a 4 1/3 stint and a 5-inning stint against the Tigers, where he came in long relief and got himself a couple of wins. Rangers are going to have to score some runs to get him a win tonight. But he could start with a nice double play grounder right here to keep it at 5-0.
Whacked foul by Beltran. I would think probably the best major league outing Joaquin has ever had. It was in extreme long relief when he came on in the 3rd in Baltimore.
That was pretty good.
Right around this time last year. And he ended up with a 7-inning save on a 1-hitter. Record-setting 7-inning save. Rip and a miss by Beltran, 1-2.
Good movement on that fastball. Outside corner, tailing away. Strikeout wouldn't be bad.
Double play'd be even better. He gets neither. He gets a foul ball. It's 1-2. Beltran will be another key part if the Royals indeed make the playoffs for the first time since that World Series win in '85. Slowly hit. That will not be a double play. They are happy to get the 1 out. Beltran was only out by a half a step. It's an RBI bounce out, and Kansas City tacks on another. It is 6-0 already. 2 more runs batted in for Beltran in 2 innings.
And Michael knows he has to flip that over there quickly because Beltran's hustling all the way.
Another solid year for Raul Ibanez, who was on the scrap heap from Seattle. What a great pickup by the Royals.
All Ibanez needed was a chance to play every day. Didn't appear he was going to get that chance in Seattle. Seattle probably looks at what Ibanez has done here and wishes they did give him that opportunity. He's been very productive at a low salary.
Mariners stopped a 6-game losing streak last night, and they take on Tampa Bay a little later on this evening. Tag to right field. And that's going to get another run home. Ibanez on his way for 2. 7-0 Kansas City.
Ibanez got a high changeup. He was able to wait on it and drilled it down the right field line. Sweeney had moved to second. Beltran's ground out comes around and scores. Pitch is supposed to be down and away, and instead it catches all of the plate. Ibanez was ready for it.
This will put a pretty decent-sized dent in Colby Lewis's ERA. All these runs are charged to Colby tonight. 7 earnings in an inning and a third. Rondell White for his 2nd at bat ever as a Kansas City Royal. He fouls it back up over our heads. White leaves behind a San Diego Padres team that is not competing for anything. They're 52 and 81. He dives right in here. Again, the Royals 1 game out in that very tight AL Central. The AL West is not exactly a slouch of a race either. With Seattle and Oakland continuing to have at it. They're each 77 and 55. Inside 2-1.
That's still not out of the question that the Yankees and the Red Sox could have a pretty good race too.
That's true. There's the West race, and Buck Showalter adamant about the Rangers making it priority to catch and pass last year's World Series champs, get into third. White hammers away. It's a long run for Marcus Thames. He won't get it. Another run scores. Rondell White digs for third. Let's see how much he keeps digging. He's being waved. Here he comes. No, sir. Take your triple and like it. Wouldn't that have been something, though? A standing O for Rondell White as he tried for an inside the Parker in his Royals debut. Things are still going pretty well for Kansas City, though. Another run in. And the Old Spice High Endurance Shower Sing and Win Sweepstakes. We invite you to log on to oldspice.com for your chance to win 10 grand. Inside the park pad. Back before they moved the fences in and went to the grass field.
Well, it took a relay throw from Michael Young. That's about as good a relay throw as you can make. Michael's got a great arm for a second baseman, for anybody for that matter. If it wasn't for that throw, it would have been an inside the park home run.
Donnie Sadler is dispatched here by May. Let's take a look at the relay that made it a triple, not an inside the Parker.
Well, it starts with a good throw from Thames, and then Michael winds up and just throws a one-hop shot. Anything but that throw. What a great throw. And Rondell White has an inside the park home run. Rondell White, 2 hits in the ball game, 3 RBIs, and he's hit both of them right off the handle. Sweeney's got a couple of hits, 2 little dinky ground balls. 7 hits, 2 balls have been hit hard. Ibanez hit his double hard. Randa hit his double to right center field hard. Other than that, 5 of the 7 hits have been right off the handle.
Alex Rodriguez gets under one. Almost pokes a hole in the ozone. It finally comes down, and it'll be taken in by Relaford for the out. You know, Tag, speaking of inside the Parkers, it was on this date in 1977 at Yankee Stadium. You know where I'm going with this one?
Yeah, was that the back-to-back ones?
Bump Wills and Toby Harrah back-to-back inside the Parkers on back-to-back pitches.
Who was it, Ken Clay?
I believe you're right, yeah.
Ken Clay was pitching. Yeah, we watched that and said, boy, that's never happened before. And then after the game, found out it had happened before.
Another towering pop-up, this one by Rafael Palmeiro. It stays 8-0. As again, we remind you about the Old Spice High Endurance Shower, Sing, and Win Sweepstakes. Log on to oldspice.com for your chance to win $10,000. 8-0, Kansas City. It is not going real well right now. The Royals coming up, and the Royals will be coming to the ballpark in Arlington before too long. A 3-game series starting on Monday, and Wednesday it's going to be Dollar Soft Drink Night. Wednesday, September the 3. Ranger players and coaches will be signing autographs in the concourse after batting practice. For tickets, 817-273-5100, and we get things going in the bottom of the 3rd. Joaquin Benoit faces the bottom 3rd of the order for Kansas City. Relaford, Baroa, and Maine. Colby Lewis, 7 runs in an inning and a third tonight. Now it's up to Benoit to soak up some innings.
Well, 8 runs in 2 innings. You can't say much good about it, but they just have not been blasting the ball like you might expect to 7 hits and 8 runs in 2 innings. Doesn't change the scoreboard at all.
No, we came close to talking about a home run by Rondell White on a ball that was hit off the handle.
Yeah.
Would have been an inside the Parker. It is amazing, Tom, in the history of this ballpark. There have been 83 inside the park home runs from Tom Poquette to Craig Paquette. Heck, Brent Maine has an inside the park home run. He's a catcher. But now I
got official scored out of an inside the park home run here one time.
I'm still bitter about that too.
I am. See, now if I was like the players today, I'd have gotten on the phone and called up and cussed out the official scorekeeper.
That was the Jamie Quirk.
That was Jamie Quirk in left field.
Yeah.
Here's the reason it was a bad official scoring. It was a line drive right down the line. Jamie went into the corner. It bounced over his glove and rolled towards center field. And the official scorekeeper gave the play a triple. Well, if he catches the ball, it's a double, definitely not a triple.
Navarre fading back. He will not get it. It's off his glove and to the wall. Relaford speeding around to second, and he's got a lead-off double.
That's fairly long-range throw from Navarre.
I was thinking the same thing. Almost with the heels on the warning track, he rainbowed one to a very surprised Donnie Sadler.
He one-hopped that thing to third from dead center field. Wow.
Well, he's got another nickname now besides El Meteoro. He is El Ichiro.
Well, he got there. The ball looked like it went off the side of his glove. Let's take another look. Yeah, I mean, he got there. Couldn't quite come up with it. Nice try. And then the long-range throw. He just winds up and let it fly.
Runner at second for Angel Baroa. Well, retroactively, is there anything we can do to get your inside the Parker?
No, I don't think so. I think I just got to stick with a triple. I didn't get many of those either, so I'll take the triple. But if it was a triple, it had to be a home run, because the only way it could have been a triple was because it went by Jamie in left field. Jamie made the point of saying he hadn't played left field very much.
This ball is being pursued by Navarre. Long run, and he makes the catch.
He's going to be tired after this inning. He's gone as far as he could straight back, as far as he could straight in. He had to chase Randa's double down in right center field last inning. So he's getting his running in center field, that's for sure. They go a long way to catch that ball.
Long way back, long way in. Let's see if he gets tested out laterally now.
Well, he hasn't hit the turf yet. That's bound to come up before this game's over. This park was even better for inside the Parkers before they went to regular grass. The turf, the ball just shot down the lines. And if you didn't play it right, it rolled all the way to left or right center field.
And from Amos Otis to Willie Wilson, they had guys who could take advantage.
They did.
We are in the Amos Otis suite doing this game tonight. That's our broadcast booth. I think that's kind of cool. They name every booth after a former Royals great here in Kansas City. So we are honored to be in the Amos Otis wing here tonight.
And right next to the Steve Busby suite.
Where we were last year.
Yep.
Green knocks one down. I'm secretly hoping we get to do a game in the Freddie Patek suite.
Where is that?
2 doors down. Of course, the ceilings are real small in there.
I like the booth we've got right now. It's got a little air conditioning in it. Nice and comfortable.
Not bad, not bad. Hi there.
Sherry behind us. It's definitely got the best coat hanger in the league. I mean, it looks like something that's nicer than in my bedroom.
Hadn't even noticed that.
Yeah, it's got very nice touches to this booth. See, look at
that. You're right.
Now, where have you seen something like that?
The hotel. Did you take that from the hotel?
No. You can tell men didn't decorate this booth, especially broadcasters.
No kidding. Oh, by the way, I've got a hotel story for you. First, the 2-2 pitch. And it's not bad. 2-2 becomes 2-3. The strikeout of Brent Maine. Benoit will face Aaron Guile. All right, I don't care how nice or not nice your hotel room is, but what do you think one prerequisite, maybe besides a bed, might be in a hotel room?
A toilet?
Well, we got that.
Oh, okay.
But you're right.
Let's see. You got the bed, you got the toilet.
What if you want to, for example,
how about a sink?
Well, no, I think not plumbing. Think,
not plumbing?
Think if you want to, like, actually wake up. What would
a clock?
A clock would be a help. I called down to inform the front desk there's no clock in here.
Someone ripped the clock
They
off.
said, sir, we have clocks in every room. I said, well, I understand that's the theory, but I'm telling you, there's no clock in this room. Could you possibly send one up?
And then the guy said, sir, would you take it out of your suitcase and put it back?
Along with all those towels? Guile hits one towards center, and that'll do it. No runs in the third. It stays 8-0. And hey, it's the Old Spice High Endurance Shower Sing and Win Sweepstakes. Log on to oldspice.com for your chance to win $10,000.
Fox Sportsnet presents the Old Spice High Endurance Shower Sing and Win Sweepstakes.
Welcome to McKinney Avenue Tavern, where tonight these three guys are going to hop in the shower and sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," all the while lathering up with the Old Spice High Endurance Body Wash. They'll be judged by the lovely lather babe Shauna.
That's right, Mitch. I'll be looking for the magical combination of these guys singing in the shower and showing me some big lather.
Log on to oldspice.com and register for your chance to win $10,000.
8 runs for Kansas City, and the Rangers trying to chip away here. They've got Shane Spencer up. Darrell May working with that comfortable 8-zip lead. And he has retired 4 in a row since the Rangers loaded the bases on him in the bottom of the second, or rather the top of the second. That ball hit well to center. At the wall, leaping catch by Beltran. That's his second outstanding play that he has made in this series. He went into the alley in right center yesterday, robbing Hank Blaylock, and now he's going back against the wall to take one away from Spencer.
He's a superb athlete. There's no doubt about that. There's nothing on the field that he doesn't do exceptionally well. A true 5-tool player.
Rookie of the year in 1999.
There's a lot of questions whether Kansas City would try to trade him. He has one more year before he can be a free agent. But he's salary arbitration eligible, and it's going to be a huge contract next year. There was questions whether the Royals would try to get something for him now. And they said, no, we're going to keep him. We're going to try to win. We've got a good thing going here. We're going to try to win this year.
Mark Teixeira blasting away. Sorry, Tom.
That's okay.
Ball gathered up near the warning track.
They may try to trade him in the offseason, but they're going to let this season ride.
Might as well. One game out right now. The Aflac Insurance Trivia question.
Aflac!
The Royals, as we mentioned, haven't been to the playoffs in 18 years. Who's got the longest current streak of no postseason appearances? Todd Green takes up and away. Just about everybody with the, I mean, obviously the San Diego Padres and the Detroit Tigers. There are some teams that are long past eliminated from playoff competition this year, but as we've talked about, Tom, one of the really cool things about this season is there are legitimately 20 teams right now that are looking around saying, you know what, we got a shot to go to the postseason.
Yep, we're not out of it.
Todd Green booms one towards center, but Darrell May is keeping everybody in the ballpark tonight. 7 straight fly ball outs, and the Rangers still trail at 8-0. This is Ranger Baseball on Fox Sports Net, brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Whataburger, just like you like it. The Royals starter Darrell May, a 6-pitch third inning, a 7-pitch fourth inning. Rangers hitting some towering pop-ups against him, and even some fly balls that have carried near the warning track. But bottom line is he's cruising right now. Tommy's up 8-0.
Yep, he knows he's got a lead, and he knows he can challenge the hitters. He doesn't have to be too fancy. He hasn't been in trouble. I guess he was in trouble in the second inning. Bases loaded. He got Michael Young to fly out. The Royals haven't given him this support in many of the ball games, that's for sure.
Benoit to Joe Randa. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Make it 2-1 as you check out where Joe Randa hits him. He's an equal opportunity lender.
That's about as straight away as you can get.
Bank of America, higher standards. Inside, 3-1 to count to a guy who has certainly been locked in this month of August, Tom. He's hitting .363 in August. Well, leadoff walks. Seen a lot of that this entire season, but tonight it's really kind of jumped up. Buck Showalter watched Colby Lewis walk the first 2 batters of the game tonight, and it turned into a 4-run first, followed immediately by a 4-run second. We talked about Mike Sweeney and kind of a personal charge to lead these Royals back to where they haven't been since '85. They are pretty proud of that World Series trophy. It's been interesting the way this team has come along over the years. Obviously, they were first at Kansas City Athletics when they had Major League Baseball here. Sweeney rams one into left center. Ramon Navarre says he's got the range, and at the warning track, he's right.
It looked like Sweeney hit that ball well. No wind. A little bit heavy air, maybe. Must not have gotten all of it. Saw him hit one out to right center last night. To the warning track in left center field. Let's see if we can see where that ball hit. He hit a little bit toward the end of the bat. Yeah, he knew it. Knew he didn't quite get it.
There's a few Crimenes and Dagnabbits coming out of that dugout now. Beltran serves one foul back this way.
Mike can't be too upset, though, with that out after the 2 hits that he's gotten early in the game.
No kidding.
I wouldn't be complaining.
They say it all evens out, right?
Yeah.
Hit him soft, get a base hit, hit him hard, and you're out.
He was saying yesterday was the first day he could take extra batting practice. He's had the sore back because of the injury. They haven't wanted him to extend himself too much, but finally they gave him the okay, and he took a lot of extra batting practice yesterday and had a good game. Evidently he's the kind of guy that really likes to work in the cage.
Another one smoked foul by Beltran. Buck Showalter was asking before the game about some of the old Kansas City days here, back when Charlie Finley owned the old Kansas City Athletics. He had the box seats at the KC ballpark painted citrus yellow, as he called them. That one out behind second base for Young. I think the reserved in bleachers he called desert turquoise. And he made the foul poles pink for a couple of years just because he could. Next, the Kansas City A's team colors were Kelly green and Fort Knox gold. Now that they're the Kansas City Royals, back to the Aflac trivia question. The longest current streak of no postseason appearances, that would be the Expos. Back to the split season of 1981. And as you mentioned, Tom, they're right on the periphery right now. They're getting close.
They're close.
Of course, the Kansas City A's went on to become the Oakland A's.
A lot of people made fun of Charlie Finley back then, but when you look back at Charlie Finley today, he was way ahead of his time in a lot of promotional ideas. Certainly way ahead of his time in his thinking that arbitration would be something that owners would be very, very upset that they ever agreed to.
Well, he's a guy that said, heck, make them all free agents, flood the market. That'll drive the cost down. Everybody laughed at him, and as it turns out, that might not have been a bad idea.
Yeah, the guy that was the most worried about that happening was Marvin Miller, who represented the players. The last thing he wanted to see was all the players become free agents, because he knew the prices would go down. He had a plan, and he implemented it perfectly. And Charlie Finley, looking back on it, was probably the only one that had it figured out.
Hard ground ball to second base, soaked up by Michael Young. And Benoit is out of the inning. We are through 4 in Kansas City. Rangers have some work to do. It's 8-0. Well, you know you're in Kansas City when you see that big old scoreboard leering at you from center field. Royals 8, Rangers 0 is the score posted on that scoreboard, plainly visible as you're driving by on the interstate. This is part of the Harry S. Truman Sports Complex. It lights up. Look at the smiley face there. Isn't it nice to be in Kansas City with a smile like that? You got Arrowhead Stadium right next door where the Chiefs play. They share a parking lot. Royals Stadium, Kauffman Stadium it's called now. There's another pop-up off a Ranger bat. That's going to find safe harbor in the crowd. 100 years ago, Tom, they say Kansas City had a team called the Cowboys in the old Union League, and they played at a park that was nicknamed The Hole. Would have loved to have done a game from that park. They had an outfield sign that said, "Please don't shoot the umpire. He's doing the best that he can." Thames will strafe one towards right center. Long run, Beltran reaching out. He's done it again.
Well, you talk about gliding after a ball. He has such smooth strides out there. I think I mentioned this before. He looks like Bernie Williams about 7 or 8 years ago when Bernie Williams first came into the league. Was a Gold Glove center fielder.
Funny you mentioned that, Tag. He has said that that is exactly who he patterns his game after. Fellow Puerto Rican. It's a guy that he's always looked up to, and I think he'd take that as the best compliment you could pay him.
Well, that's exactly what he looks like. Bernie doesn't play center field like that now like he used to. I think Beltran probably has the edge on him out there because of his youth and his athleticism. Boy, that ball off the bat didn't look like there was any chance that Beltran would get to that. Looked like an extra base hit for sure.
What is that called again, where the ball hits the ground? Ground ball?
Ground ball?
Ground ball.
Yeah, it's a ground ball.
Haven't seen one of those in a long time. 8 straight fly ball outs before that from Darrell May. Top of the order, Mike Young coming up, and the All-Star Summer is back. The guests tonight, Larry Boa and more. The All-Star Summer continues tonight around 10:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. I'll give Darrell May some credit. The Royals staked into this big lead, and he was pitching quickly. He was pitching confidently. Pours in another strike here to Young.
Yeah, he's not throwing anything fancy, really. Nope. Average, probably below average fastball, but good command with it, good control with it. Moving it in, moving it out. A little of this, a little of that.
Another fly ball, shallow right. And the Rangers haven't had a base runner since they loaded the bases back in the 2nd inning. 8-0. As we get to the bottom of the 5th, the newest Kansas City Royal, Rondell White, already has ingratiated himself to these Royals fans. He's got 2 hits, 3 runs batted in. Socking this one to left field. Spencer coming on, and he'll stab it out of the air, 1 down.
He finally hit one hard and made an out.
It's a nice round of applause just for making an out here. Things are starting to happen quickly in this game, Tom. Darrell May pitching for the Royals. has needed only 23 pitches to get through the Rangers' order. The last 9 outs on 23 pitches.
He's pretty much saying, here it is. It's not like he's throwing 95 miles an hour.
We'll check some scores for you this inning. Couple finals. Navarre got a late jump. Coming hard, makes the one-hand catch. Now the Tigers' win streak is over at 2. Cleveland 9-7 is the final, though 5 different Tigers hit home runs in this game. The Red Sox get up off the mat. They beat the Blue Jays. It's a final 6-3. Carlos Delgado, home run number 34 in a losing effort for the Blue Jays. Roy Halladay took the loss. He drops to 17-6. Still not too shabby. White Sox 10, Yankees 2, bottom of the 8th. Frank Thomas has hit another home run. That is number 36. Two quick strikes here.
Suddenly the Yankees pitching looks a little vulnerable. Their 2 40-year-olds, Roger Clemens and David Wells, got bombed on back-to-back nights.
I'll tell you what else suddenly. Not only is Frank Thomas a candidate for comeback player of the year, if he keeps this up, he'll get some MVP votes.
Yeah, he might. Coming down the stretch, it's going to be determined.
There's no one candidate this year. I don't know if you disagree or not, Tom, that just jumps right out at you in the AL.
No, the guys having the best years are playing on teams that really aren't contenders, whether it's Garrett Anderson or Vernon Wells or Carlos Delgado.
Angel Baroa, who's a candidate for Rookie of the Year, gets a base hit. Yeah, kind of the same argument that swirled around Alex Rodriguez last year. Does the guy with the best stats get the award or not? Alex has great stats. Delgado, Vernon Wells, Garrett Anderson. But all those guys we just named are not going to the playoffs.
No, and I think if you look at the teams that are headed to the playoffs or appear to be headed for the playoffs, Seattle has a pretty good shot. Brett Boone's having a pretty big year. Ichiro's having another good year. Ichiro has been a most valuable player before. Yankees, I don't know that the Yankees, I guess Giambi is somewhat of a candidate.
A lot of those teams, it's just too democratic almost. I mean, they spread it out so that no one player is dominating.
Manny Ramirez is having a good year. But Oakland really doesn't have anybody.
No.
It's wide open.
Although
Frank Thomas, Maglio Ordonez, one of the White Sox guys could sneak in there with a strong September.
Check swing foul by Brent Maine. I'll tell you one thing that is becoming apparent. Esteban Loaiza just might win himself a Cy Young this year.
Yeah. Pitched well enough to start the All-Star game, and other than getting bombed by the Rangers, he's right back on track and pitching well.
How loud would the giggling have been, though, if I had suggested to you in spring training Esteban Loaiza is not only going to make the White Sox, he's going to win a Cy Young.
Yeah, they think that'd be a long shot.
Maine fights one foul. Well, the White Sox, remember, beat the Yankees 13-2 in the Bronx yesterday. They're up 10-2 tonight. National League, the Marlins have lost, and the Phillies are losing. Montreal up 7-6 now in the 8th inning. As we mentioned earlier, that National League wild card race really couldn't get much tighter. So you'd figure, but it might. With the Marlins losing, the Phillies may be about to lose. The Expos will gain. The Cardinals, by the way, put 3 on the board in the bottom of the 8th. They now lead the Cubs 3-2. And the Astros have kicked their lead up to 6-1 on the Dodgers. On 3-2, the runner goes. Maine hacks it towards second base. And did it hit the runner or not?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Baroa did a nice job to
Maine
hurdle
wishes it did. Would have had a base hit.
Instead, it's a ground out. And the Rangers will play the 6th now, trailing by 8. He's hitting for Lorraine Jerpy from Waxahachie. If a Ranger hits a grand slam during this inning, we give away 25 grand. Found a cool note about Waxahachie in my little book that I bought today, Tom, the Ultimate Book of Sports Lists. I had no idea about this one, but check this out. Waxahachie High. As Donnie Sadler will send one in the left. He's got a leadoff hit here to bring Alex Rodriguez to the plate. Says here that Waxahachie produced 4 major leaguers in 1 year at their high school back, I guess, in the 40s or 50s. Paul Richards, Art Shires, a guy named Belv Bean, and Jimmy Adair. You had 4 major leaguers on 1 high school team in little old Waxahachie.
That must have been a pretty good high school team.
I would hope they won a title or something that year. Paul Richards went on to be a GM. Alex Rodriguez waves and misses.
GM, he managed the White Sox when they wore shorts one year, too.
Oh, the hot pants, that's right.
And he worked for the Rangers for a number of years, too. One of the smartest baseball people that ever put on a uniform. Never tired from having the opportunity to talk to Paul Richards. Boy, he had a great way of looking at things.
A-Rod sails one deep into left center field. It goes to the track. It will not get out. It's been that kind of night.
The other thing, Paul Richards was a great golfer. He loved to golf, but he didn't like to wait. He played what they called down at Waxahachie Country Club speed golf. In other words, he hit it and he went after his ball and then he hit it again. If you couldn't keep up, he just kept on playing. You'd have to putt your ball as fast as you can just to get to the next hole in time to tee off with him.
The Paul Richards story that the old timers tell around here in Kansas City, when Paul was the Orioles GM, he proposed trading his 25 guys to Kansas City for the Kansas City A's 25 guys, and the A's GM supposedly wanted to do it, couldn't get in touch with his owner before the trade deadline expired. Trade deadline back then was the middle of June.
That'd be a tough one for the fans to swallow.
No
right
kidding,
there, wouldn't it?
We'll just trade my team for your team, even up.
The moving companies would have liked it.
But you know, Baltimore in 1956 had a kid named Brooks Robinson, only 19 years old. If that trade had gone through, Brooks Robinson would have made his way as an Athletic and not an Oriole. Palmeiro tips one foul. The count 2-2. Bank of America higher standards. Had a home run that Rafi hit last night, makes him the all-time leader against the Kansas City Royals. Cal Ripken Jr. had 37. Now he's got 38, just Rafi. Well, the Rangers are keeping Beltran busy tonight. There's another putout for the center fielder. And it's funny, Rafi said he wasn't aware that he had become the all-time leader against Kansas City. And he says he doesn't really keep up with stuff like that, but he admits, knowing that last night the home run tied him with Ted Williams and with Willie McCovey. I think Rafi really got a kick out of that, being able to go home at the end of the day and say, man, I got as many home runs as Ted Williams. Fly ball outs for the Rangers tonight. At one point it was 8 straight batters. I don't recall many 3-ball counts from Darrell May tonight, do you?
No, there haven't been a lot of 3-ball counts, not a lot of long at bats, really. The Rangers have gone up there feeling like they're getting some good pitches to hit. They've gotten underneath a few, just missed a few. Mays hit the corners pretty well.
There's a 3-ball count. Rangers in. Gets it to 3-2 with 2 out, so Sadler will be in motion from first.
It must be a little bit difficult to pick up the fastball from May. And his fastball is pretty straight, especially for a left-hander. And he's not throwing that hard velocity-wise.
Spencer rung up. The Royals are enjoying their night. The Rangers obviously are not. It is 8-0.
Hey, can I try a piece of that popcorn chicken?
I don't think so.
Oh. I'll let you drive.
What's up?
Sonic's Jumbo Popcorn Chicken. Big pieces of all-white meat, perfect for dipping in our new Chipotle sauce made with Tabasco. It's a taste that's almost too good to share. Come in and get a snack-sized order for just $1.99. Only at Sonic.
Parcells and the Cowboys take on a Falcon team with something to prove. Fox NFL Sunday returns next weekend.
I think of Mike Sweeney. Reminds you a bit of Alex Rodriguez. Just all that time in the cage, making a good hitter even better. Erasmo Ramirez in the Ranger bullpen now. Jeff Pentland's got a pretty good track record of getting good hitters to become even better hitters. He was the guy that worked with Sammy Sosa last few years with the Cubs. Ground ball sharply to A-Rod, looking to turn it. That is nicely done. 6-4-3 double play. And the Rangers able to keep the Royals off the board in the bottom of the 6th inning. Still 8-0. This is Ranger Baseball on Fox Sports Net, brought to you by Chevrolet and your Texas Chevy dealer. Chevy driving Texas. And by Southwest Airlines, more than 2,700 nonstop daily flights to 59 destinations all across the country. Ball 1 to Mark Teixeira, and the 7th inning is underway. Over the last 9 innings, the Kansas City Royals have outscored the Rangers 14-0. And the Rangers continue to have their problems here at this ballpark. They have not won here since 2001.
If the Royals hang on to win this, they will have won 16 out of the last 22 games against the Rangers.
Count goes to 2-1. Now Tony Peña's got to be loving what he's gotten from Darrell May tonight. The lefty working very economically. Or economically, I'm not sure which is correct. Not throwing a lot of pitches, though. In the mid-70s right now.
Well, last time he pitched against the Rangers, he was out after 5 innings, and he pitched well. He only gave up 1 run, but he threw a lot of pitches in 5 innings.
And you know, Darrell May had not walked a batter or struck out a batter until the last 2 batters. Now he's had 1 of each: a strikeout of Spencer, a walk to Teixeira. Oh, check that, 2 strikeouts in this game for him.
Well, he pretty much has been making them swing the bats, that's for sure.
Todd Green hasn't walked since April. He swings the bat and he drives one into center field.
Oh, he just missed that ball.
That's been the story of the Rangers'
Wow.
night. How many balls are they going to hit to the warning track tonight?
That's at least 3 or 4 balls that have been very close to being home runs. Alex had one out there. There's been a number of them. Todd had a good swing at this pitch, and pretty good pitch to hit. Just got underneath it.
Got an email here from Erica, wanting to know if she can get some information on that ballpark sleepover she's been hearing about, how old you have to be and stuff like that, she says. There's another high fly ball. Boy, these fly ball outs are just getting silly here tonight. Well, Erica, the Rangers have announced this Sleep Under the Stars deal, a Field of Dreams sleepover at the ballpark in Arlington, and it's 8 years of age or older. If you are 8 years old, you qualify. And they will show movies. You can run the bases, hit in the batting cages. And then camp out under the stars.
Dinner on Saturday night, breakfast on Sunday morning.
Sleep over at the yard.
Tour of the Legends Museum if you want to.
Now, will they put the Rangers game up there? Or do we play in the day or in the nighttime that night? I know we're in Anaheim. Oh, I think that's a day game on Saturday.
They're going to show a movie, they say.
Back to the mound, Ramon Navarre speeding down the line, but is out. And so are the Rangers. Another quick inning for Darrell May, working with an 8-0 lead at the stretch. Game summary: Joe Randa's been on base a bunch. Rondell White in his Royals debut has done quite well, and Darrell May just having quite a time of it tonight with an 80-pitch effort to get through 7 innings. Rangers hitting fly balls all over the place, are just not getting out. And Darrell May is bidding for his second ever major league shutout. Now, the other thing we should talk about is the defensive play of this guy, Carlos Beltran. Your Pennzoil protection plays of this series. Pretty much been a highlight reel all by himself has been Carlos Beltran.
He's gone in all different directions. That was in last night's ball game. He was up against the wall in tonight's ball game. And this is into the gap in right center field. He makes them look easy. Off the bat, they look like extra base hits. He somehow runs them down.
Somehow, magically, he also leads off the inning. It's going to be against a new Ranger pitcher. They've gone and retrieved Erasmo Ramirez from out of the bullpen. Joaquin Benoit's night is done at 4 2/3 innings of relief work. Beltran greets him rudely. Into the alley in right center. Navarre cuts it off. He spins and he fires. Not in time. Beltran at 12 for 20 against the Rangers this year.
He jumps on the first pitch that he sees, a fastball on the outside part of the plate, and drives it into the gap in right center field. Navarro makes a beautiful play to cut it off and get it in. Unfortunately, it's Beltran running, and he's into second base easily. Pretty good job by Benoit, though. He pitched 4 2/3 of long relief, 5 hits and 1 run. Gave the innings to Buck Showalter when you needed it, and pitched pretty well. It's the 3rd time in the last couple of weeks that he's pitched at least 4 2/3 innings in long relief. And the eraser with good numbers this year, 3-0 on the season with a good solid ERA.
Like that walks to strikeouts ratio too. And the chant goes up, "We want donuts." They're at 11 hits. They need 12.
Man, how many donuts do you need? Oh, there it is.
It's Donut Day in Kansas City. They react like they've just won the World Series. Well, imagine if they actually do win the World Series. Game 7, walk-off home run, but it's only the 11th hit of Game 7.
Well,
will they be mad?
I can't imagine that the donut company anticipated they would give this many donuts away. Someone set the bar much too low.
Somebody's going to lose his phony baloney job over this. We're getting close to...
I mean, you're talking a lot of donuts now. That's got to be uncomfortable for the company to give that many donuts away.
Well, I mean, let's figure this out. Let's say a crowd of about 20,000 maybe here tonight, times 12. That ball hacked into left by White. And that's going to get another run in for Kansas City. Sac fly. 9-0.
A pretty good debut for Rondell White. 4 RBIs, a triple, a single. Making his presence felt right off the bat.
My brain just exploded trying to do the math. Let's just say it's a lot of donuts. Plenty of runs for the Royals tonight. 9 on the board. They had 9 yesterday too. Ground ball near Alex Rodriguez, goes to second 1, and that's it.
What'd you say? There's 20,000 people here. That's 240,000 donuts.
200. That's the number I was looking for. So we'd be up to what, 5.65 million donuts now.
They gave 250,000 donuts away tonight.
Nextel presents You Make the Call. Good decision by the vice presidents of the Krispy Kreme Corporation, or not?
Well, the Royals have to like it. I think Krispy Kreme is going to have to recruit a baseball person to negotiate the hits in the future. I don't think it's going to be 12 again next year. They better get themselves a former player.
Rodriguez will grab a line drive, leaves Baroa hopping mad down that first base line. Now the Royals fans are digging it, though. They've got their 9-0 lead, and yes, they've got their dozen donuts, too. Texas Ranger Baseball on Fox Sports Net, brought to you by Nextel, now with a coast-to-coast walkie-talkie built right in. Now that's a walkie-talkie. By the Texas Lottery and by Mazda. There's the soul of a sports car in everything we make. Underway with what else? A fly ball induced by Darrell May
on the first pitch.
All right, let's have a race. Let's see who can count up the fly ball outs first. You ready? Go.
I will let you do it.
No.
I got the donuts.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11, 12, 13. I got 14.
14. That's a lot.
Well, think of it this way. May has thrown only 81 pitches. 14 out of those 81 have ended up as a fly ball out. Sadler takes on the outside corner. New third baseman is Mendy Lopez. New left fielder is D. Brown. It's the same Darrell May, though, the lefty on the mound, trying to raise his record to 8-6. The Ranger pitcher of record, Colby Lewis, would drop to 6-9. One ball, 2 strikes to Sadler. Well, that's not bad to be at this point of the game. 84 pitches. The Royals bullpen has not been up at all tonight. We may have overshot on the donut count, by the way, Tom. They've announced tonight's attendance in the 12,000s, not the 20,000s. So,
all right. Well, you're talking 144,000 then.
Look out.
In any event, it's uncomfortable for the Krispy Kreme donut makers.
But boy, they taste good going down.
You know, it'd be interesting to know how many potential dozen donuts there are and how many are actually cashed in.
Ground ball, third base. Mendy Lopez tested right away. So how many donuts go uneaten then? Is that?
Yeah. Unclaimed. How many unclaimed donuts?
Tell you who's gone unnoticed tonight besides that bullpen has been the Kansas City pitching coach John Cumberland. He has not been able to even get out there tonight the way Darrell May has gone at it. Our Corona miles away from the ordinary factoid. Now there's a factoid. I'm gonna have to dig into that website, see who else besides John Cumberland. I think there's a direct link to the Maine Sports Hall of Fame.
I don't know, but there haven't been many ball players come out of Maine, that's for sure.
A-Rod sends another soaring fly ball into the Kansas City night. That'll be tracked down.
Say this for Darrell May. He's thrown a lot of fastballs, but not many of them are right down the middle of the plate.
Royals 9, Rangers nothing as we go to the bottom of inning 8. And folks, we invite you to get the inside scoop when you sign up for Texas Rangers Inside Pitch newsletter. Get you breaking Ranger news, the latest ticket offers, all the info on upcoming events. A lot to find out at TexasRangers.com. I'm still trying to navigate around and find the Maine Sports Hall of Fame website here in honor of John Cumberland, the Royals pitching coach. may not quite make it. We got things to tell you about here. Jason Jones takes over at first base. And the other change of note is Mark Teixeira going over to third base. There's a change on the mound, too. Oop, Donnie Sadler at short. Sorry, guys. Alex Rodriguez will get an inning off. There is Jay Powell. He is the new Ranger pitcher. He becomes the fourth Ranger pitcher of the night. And immediately gets a ground ball to Michael Young. Plant, throw, out. One pitch, one away. Here are the Jay Powell numbers.
Jay's 44th game, about the third or fourth game since he started to drop down for more of a sidearm angle. Had one really good game where he threw 3 innings, and then one game against the White Sox where he gave up some runs. So still a work in progress.
Top of the order, Aaron Guile. Try to run through some of the scores once more. Assuming the Rangers are not able to rally, they will drop to 16-9 in this month of August, which is still not half bad. That has been the best record in the major leagues in the month of August for a while. 21-12 since July 23rd. Young players getting a chance to perform, and for the most part they have done quite well, but the Rangers have hit a bit of a rut on the last part of this road trip in Chicago and Kansas City. Speaking of the White Sox, it is a final at Yankee Stadium. Bartolo Colon beats David Wells 11-2. So the White Sox have stormed into the Bronx, and they have scored 23 runs or 22 runs in the 2 games at Yankee Stadium. Boston beat the Blue Jays 6-3. And you're right, Tom. I mean, you don't watch out, there's going to be a race in the East as well as in the Central. Here's the up-to-the-minute stats in the Central. The White Sox a game and a half on Kansas City, but they could be whittling that down once they get 3 more outs tonight.
You know, a lot of it for the Red Sox is going to depend on whether Pedro Martinez can stay in the rotation and stay healthy. They need him going out there every 5 days and being able to throw 100 pitches each time. Yankees, even though Roger Clemens, David Wells did not pitch well, they've still got Andy Pettitte, Mike Messina. They still got a very deep rotation.
Aaron Guile walks for the 3rd time tonight. Mendy Lopez will come to the plate. Another reminder about some football for you on Saturday. Texas A&M, Arkansas State, available on pay-per-view. You can order it for $29.95. For more information, call your local cable or satellite provider. Could be a big year for the Aggies. The Coach Fran era being ushered in. One ball, no strikes to Mendy Lopez. Tampa Bay has gone up on Seattle 2-0 in the 3rd inning. Oakland leading Baltimore 1-0 in the 3rd inning. Again, the Mariners and the A's clumped together for this entire summer.
Could knock the Seattle Mariners out of first place for the first time in a long time. Got a fairly comfortable lead over the A's.
That's funny, the A's making this run with the knowledge that Mark Mulder is likely done for the year.
The A's starting to hit a little bit now.
Slugger making friends. Trivia question: how many R's in Slugger?
The way he spells it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
There's at least 3 that I know of. I think it's Slugger. You know, like he's roaring. He's a lion.
Pretty popular.
Tag down the 3rd baseline. Mendy Lopez off the bench will rumble into second base. Guile will stop at 3rd, so it's 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. the production from the top 2 spots in the order tonight. Guile, 3 walks. And this number 2 spot in the order, Randus/Lopez on base 5 times. Looks like Julius Matos is going to come up and hit for Sweeney. Mike Sweeney had a fine night as well, 2 for 4. Infield in halfway. And Tom, some National League partials for you. The San Diego Padres leading Arizona tonight 4-2. The Diamondbacks in the thick of that wild card race. They lost to San Diego yesterday. They're trailing tonight. And the Astros have made it a final. Wade Miller beats Hideo Nomo. The Astros 6-1 over the Dodgers. And the Cardinals hanging on. They have defeated the Cubs 4-2 with a 4-run 8th inning. Inside, almost hit him.
Well, if you're going to sit on the bench and get a chance to pinch hit in a 9-0 game, you might as well come with them 1 out and a couple of men on base.
Yeah.
A chance to do something, which is what Matos has right here. Infield's about halfway. Try to cut the runoff if they can.
Right to third. There's Teixeira lining it across to Jones. Backup third baseman to a backup first baseman. Rondell White out of the game, but boy, he left his mark on this one, didn't he? His first ever Royals game. Your Chevy Truck's key play of the game, a 2-run single in his first at bat. And he followed it up with what was nearly an inside the park home run. Live, Beltran pops up the first pitch, foul ground. It'll be grabbed third base side by Teixeira. And nothing of consequence happening here in the bottom of the 8th inning. So Rondell White joins the Royals in his party to a 9-0 lead. 3 outs left to get for Darrell May. Rafael Palmeiro will take a strike, and the 9th inning begins. Darrell May, only 90 pitches right now. He was a number 5 starter for Kansas City back in April. He was skipped a lot because of rainouts and off days. Now he's the ace, the guy that was in Japan a couple of years ago. Working on a 9-0 lead. He's got to hustle to the bag and will beat Palmeiro there for the first out. Texas Ranger Baseball on Fox Sports Net has been brought to you by Southwest Airlines. More than 2,700 nonstop daily flights to 59 destinations all across the country. And by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. Nobody makes whiskey like Jack Daniel's. Well, the fans around here, those that do turn out, they have been serenading the Royals in the 9th innings. With some Mickey Dolans, with some monkeys. I'm a believer is what they're singing. In fact, there are t-shirts made up. Nosotros creemos. That's how Tony Pena says it. That's Spanish. We believe. On the Ford leaderboard, Tony Pena and Jim Sundberg 4 and 5 all time for games as a catcher in the major leagues. Are both in the ballpark tonight. Sonny is the first base coach, standing not too far from Mr. Pena right now. Another of those towering pop-ups against Darrell May tonight. He has cornered the market on those puppies.
You have to give May a lot of credit. He's thrown a lot of strikes, a lot of quality strikes. Thrown some sliders, a lot of fastballs, a few changeups. Kept the fastball away from the right-hand hitters pretty consistently. Rangers have had some good swings at him. They've just gotten underneath a couple of long fly balls. And May's been in command, pitching a great game.
This would be his 2nd career complete game shutout. He had a 5-inning shutout against the Marlins. A rain-shortened game last year. This would be a little different. I mean, you're talking about taming A-Rod and Rafi. And a hot-hitting Ranger team going a full 9. He has walked only 1. He's gotten 17 fly ball outs in this game. Trying to bring home a 5-hit shutout.
When he's missed a little bit in or a little bit outside. He hasn't missed toward the middle of the plate. Pretty good slider down and in right there. Tex just got a piece of it.
Ismael Valdez will be asked to be the stopper tomorrow. Got to make sure the Rangers get a 500 road trip. Paul Abbott will be on the mound for Kansas City. 7:05 game. You will see it on Fox Sports Net. Oh, easy, everybody. It's just a baseball. Let's not lose an eye. The 2-2. And we'll do it again. Mark Teixeira hangs around.
Took a little bit off, made it look just like his fastball, but about 7 or 8 miles an hour slower.
Mayday in Kansas City. A 105-pitch complete game shutout for the journeyman who has officially arrived. You figure, Mr. Grieve, he will help lead the Royals down the stretch.
No doubt about it. I think Brian Anderson gives him one more veteran to go along with Darrell May, but you have to say Darrell May right now is the ace of this staff. Came into the game with a 3.75 ERA. He's pitching some great baseball for him right now.
And as it says on the T-shirts, Nosotros creemos. We believe. Rondell White is among the converted now. Having arrived from San Diego today, he contributed tonight. 2 hits, 4 runs batted in. It's all Royals tonight. Your final 9-0. Coming up next, a preview of tomorrow's Cowboy preseason finale and a lot more. We go to Randy and John right now for your Southwest Sports Report.
You're watching your Southwest Sports Report.